Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Terry, and this is the Yarn Joy podcast, episode number 16. I'm so glad you came by today to see what I've been up to this past week. Thank you for my new subscribers and those that have come back that have been past subscribers. Thanks for sticking in with me and watching my progress on all my projects. Okay, today I have some finished objects. I have works in progress and a tip and a little review of some hooks that I bought a few weeks ago that I want to talk about. So let's get started. Okay, so today I just have two finished objects to show you. I've been working the last few weeks on the fall wreath, and it is from Repeat Crafter Me website, and there's a link on Ravelry, and I did finish it, and here it is. It's a 12-inch styrofoam ring that I bought off of eBay. I believe it was a 2-pack, and I made the 3 pumpkins just like her pattern, and then the leaves, and then I stitched them on by hand. I think it turned out really cute. I don't have a hanger on the back yet, so I have to do that before I can put it on the wall, but I think it turned out really, really cute. I'm very happy with it. Okay, so there's that. And then my next finished object that I have, last week I was telling you that I had found a pattern for a cheeseburger that I was wanting to make that I thought looked really cute. So I started making it, and it was so fun to put together or to make all the pieces that I just couldn't stop until I was done. So here it is. It's so fun to make this. So you have the bun, and I used Red Heart Super Saver, I believe, and then I believe the inside of the bun was a Lion Brand color. I can't remember the name. Fisherman, possibly. I'm not sure. But anyway, it was yarn that I had already. I even made the little sesame seed stitches on the top. And then I made some pickles. The pickles actually was from another sandwich pattern that I found, a bologna sandwich. And so I thought, oh, my cheeseburger just has to have pickles. So I've made those. And I have, here's the slice of tomato. Just Red Heart Super Saver yarn. I did 1 ring of onion. And then I have my lettuce. And then, of course, we have our cheese. And the meat patty. And the meat patty was really interesting to make. It's made with these puff stitches. I don't know if you can see. There it is. See the texture? And so it really makes it look like a burger patty, I think. I really like the way that she designed it. This site is on, the website is called jenniferq.com, but there's a link to it from Ravelry, and the item is called Foodie Crochet Burger. And here's the bottom bun. So you stack it all together, and I just really think it turned out super cute. And I found a pattern for some French fries in a little package, and so I'm sure I'll be making that in the future to go along with these, the burger. So anyway, that was such a fun project to put together. Okay, so that's my only 2 finished objects that I have for this week. I really wanted to make sure I got that wreath done, and then I got the burger, and I started, and then the rest I'm just working on my works in progress. So my works in progress is, let's see, last week I told you that I wanted to start a new scrap project. Well, in fact, I've started 2. It's like scraps galore here. It just seems like I keep finding more and more yarn, I'm not making a dent in my yarn. So anyway, I decided that I wanted to make this scrap blanket, and it's called the Harmony Blanket by Lucy at Attic 24. And I had made 2 squares last week, and it's a join as you go, which I love that method of joining squares together. So here it is. I had made the 2, and then I've made 3 more. and I measured these blocks, and they're only about, with this white edging, the one that's the join as you go feature that where you put them together, they measure about 4.5 inches each, something like that. The main thing, I'm just doing them random. The only thing is the 4th and 5th rows, I'm trying to go with the pattern of doing a lighter shade and then a darker shade of the same color. See, like I did the green there. Thought that might be a fun effect. So that's the only thing that I'm doing that's not random. And the hook I'm using for this is a 4mm hook. I believe that's a G. So that's what I'm using on that. And then my other scrap project, I belong to a Facebook group called Stitch Your Library on Facebook. And I've gotten to know several of the ladies on there, and we've become really good friends. And I've just somebody suggested or had found a project that Yarn Utopia by Nadia is her channel, and she did this last year. She did, I'm sure a lot of y'all saw it, but she did tutorials where she did 365 days of granny squares. So she did a granny square pattern every day, certain variations of, you know, granny squares. They're all different patterns. And somebody on the group, we were talking about, I always have so much scrap and extra yarn, so we really need to do something. And so somebody found the posting or thought of it and suggested it. So there's myself and a few other ladies on that group decided to do the 365 days of granny squares. We're not pressuring ourselves to do one every day. We were just kind of, first we thought one every week, but then I calculated it and I was like, oh, if we'd only do one a week, it's going to take us like 7 years to get all these 365 done. So we just decided to kind of go at our own pace, but we are doing them in order. And when we show, when we get finished, we kind of review between ourselves, with each other, you know, about how we like the square and any tips that we might have discovered, and we show our color combinations. And so it's just fun, you know, we're all kind of doing the same, sort of the same thing, you know, and so that's what we started doing. And I decided this other blanket that I've got, pretty much it's for the smaller, the Harmony blanket, this one, it's for the balls that I have that are super small, because the pieces aren't, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot of yarn. This one, I have a pretty big collection of Caron Simply Soft, and so that's what I've decided to use for this one. So I just kind of grabbed a pile, and right now I've got about 6 colors picked out, and so I'm gonna kind of alternate them, but try to have them where they're kind of, you know, whether they'll kind of go sort of together. And then so what I'll do, well, I'll show you. This is number 1, which is just a basic granny square. And then this one is number 2, and it's a granny square, but it's got the continuous stitches, I guess you'd say. But as you see, I was trying to get it to turn out the same size as the first one, and I had to, the very last round there, I had to do single crochets there. Otherwise, it was going to turn out bigger than the first one. So we'll see as it goes along how I have to alter the squares. It's just for my tension, you know. Everybody's tension is the same. Everybody's tension is different. And so, you know, the sizes of our squares are going to turn out different as well. So, anyway, I just thought it was interesting how that turned out. So what I'm going to do is I figure, well, let's see, these turn out to be, I haven't even measured them, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. About the same as the other one, about 4.5 inches is what I'm getting. I'm using, the hook I'm using is, what am I using? Oh yes, an H hook, sorry. I'm using an H hook for these. And, they're still turning out pretty small, so I guess I'm a fairly tight crocheter, I suppose. I didn't think I was, but maybe I am. But anyway, so after I get you know, we'll do the first month's worth of when I get to the 30 or 31, and we'll see how big they are laid out. And I'm sure with 365, I'm going to get quite a few blankets. And I'll just kind of divide them up and put these together, and then I'll try to I'll unite them with a possibly a join as you go, but some central color that will kind of draw them all together even more, like sorry, like a white or a neutral color probably, or black. That would really set the colors off. I really don't like crocheting with black. I avoid it as much as possible because, I mean, I love the way it turns out, but if you've ever crocheted with black, you know that it's very difficult to crochet with, unless you have like a really bright light shining on it or something. It's just very hard to see the stitches. You kind of have to crochet by feel. So anyway, that's what I'm doing that. Oh, and sorry, my yarn, I'm keeping it in this tote bag that I've made several years ago, and it was really fun to make. It was a scrap project, and it's called the Swirling Bag Project, and I'll put a link. But what you do is you have these triangles that you put together, and well, they're kind of, the bottom of them is like a rectangle, and then they kind of go up, slanted up to one side with like a triangle point, I guess you'd say. Anyway, you stitch them all together, and then you put these rounds here to build it up higher using the same alternating colors. And then I just made a drawstring for mine, and I just braided a bunch of these same colors I was using. I just braided them together. So that's what I'm keeping my yarn in for that project. Okay, so my next works in progress is I started another one of the Princess Amigurumi. I believe I had only the head done last week. This is Princess Aurora from Sleeping Beauty. There you go. That's all I've got right now. Her head, her body, her dress. I do have her 2 arms made. I just haven't stitched them on yet. And I have to make her hair and a little crown on her head and finish off her face. So I still have a little more to do, but it'll go pretty quickly once I get working on it. So there's Princess Aurora, the beginning of her. She should be finished up by next week, I'm sure. Okay, so let's see. And and then last week I showed you some yarn, some variegated yarn that I had that I was wanting to find a baby blanket project. Remember I showed it to you last week. Well, I had some really good suggestions of people, and there was one person that was talking about doing a round one like what I was thinking of doing. And so I found this pattern on Ravelry. Let me pull it out here because my hook is in it. It is called the Octagon Baby Blanket. So there it is. And I have quite a bit of the yellow too, and the yellow is in the variegated piece. So I started with the variegated. You do 3 rows, and then I did 3 rows of the yellow, and then 1 row of the pink, and then I'll do 3 rows, this one, and then 2 more, 3 rows of the yellow again, and then I'll do another variegated section that has 3, not rows, rounds. Anyway, this pattern is on woolcrafting.com. And, I can show you a picture of it here. Oop, there. I don't know if you can see it very well. But I think it's going to turn out really cute. They use purple, look like purple, and let me see. Oh, I can zoom a piece of it up there. Purple and a white and a variegated. And so that's what that one's going to look like. And I really like the pattern, you know, you learn the round, and then it's just repeated, you know, so it's kind of a mindless type. Something you can do, you just have to worry about counting the rows and when to change colors, but it's not that difficult to do. So I think this is going to be a relaxing project right there. Okay, and so that's my works in progress for this week. I will try to throw in for next week some, I didn't do any preemie hats this week. I want to do another one of those for next week, and some other small projects that I can show you that I can finish up quickly. And along with these, I'm sure these scrap projects, I mean, as you know, 365 squares, it'll be an ongoing thing. So I'll add other projects in there to make things interesting, to have interesting things to look at. But I do want to say that, especially if you have made many scrap projects, you know that you will have lots of little ends to weave in and snip off. And so I got this container. It was just a container I had. I think I had powdered peanut butter in it. PB2? No, PB Fit, but it's like that. Anyway, so I thought, oh, that would be such a great jar. And so I got it washed out, took the label off, and cleaned it up. And I thought, I'm going to put my scraps, the snippings of when I'm cutting the yarn off after I weave the ends in. And so what I've been doing with these is, you're amazed if you actually save them, how much of a quantity you will have built up of them. So what I did is, when I did the pumpkins on my wreath, I stuffed them with these snippings of my yarn leftovers. That way, because I have been doing amigurumi projects, and as you know, when I did the Donkey Kong a few weeks ago, it took a big load of fiberfill. And so I was thinking, well, this way I can use this, as long as the yarn isn't something that all these different colors will show through, then you wouldn't want to do that if the project is on the holier side, I guess you'd say. But if it's more dense, like those pumpkins were, or something where it's not going to show through, why not use some of this stuff as your stuffing? So that's my tip for the day. And let's see, what else? Oh, and I was going to tell you about these hooks. Several weeks ago, I had told you that I bought some hooks off of Amazon, a crochet hook set, and the brand is called Festival Hands. And as you see, I have 3 of them that are in use right now. 2 of them are in the scrap projects. I have one in the baby blanket. Oh, and the baby blanket, the hook I'm using is 4.5, I think, which is like a 7. I think it says size 7. It doesn't have a letter to it. Yes, 4.5 millimeters. Anyway, and then I've got, let's see. Oh, and then I'm using one in my my Princess amigurumi project as well. Anyway, so I've used them for a while, and I really like them. The set was, I believe, $12 or $13, something like that, and I got it free shipping from Amazon Prime. But there's 9 hooks, and I haven't had any trouble with them being loose, or coming out or anything. They seem to be really good, easy on the hands, so I really enjoy them. I think I made a really good purchase with that. So that's my review on those. I'd say thumbs up for that. Okay, so that's about it really for this week. Please subscribe if you haven't, and come back and see what I get done for next week. I really enjoy all the nice and sweet comments that I've been getting from people about all my projects. I'm having such a fun time making these videos and sharing what I've done and my love for yarn with all of you. And I'm so glad you came back to see how I was doing. And please come back next week for my next video and see what else I've got to show you. Everybody have a great week. Bye.